Hey guys, it's Bella, the maker mama boss lady behind Bella's Custom Crochets, and this is my podcast, episode 8, brought to you by my co-host, Wispy Hair. Let's be real, are any of you put together at this point? If you say yes, you're lying. Anyway, this is a mostly crochet, a little bit of knitting, making, etc. podcast, and I have quite a few things to show you, even though I think it's only been 2 weeks since I recorded last. Normally I do a monthly podcast, but we're changing things up as the world has changed everything else up anyway. If you are interested in following me over on Instagram or anywhere else, all my links are going to be down below in the down bar. And I do want to just mention quick that we do have a Ravelry group for this podcast as well. If you want to jump on there, you can search Bella's Custom Crochets Podcast in the Ravelry Groups tab, or find the link down below if you want even more Bella content in your life. Okay, let's just get down to the business. We all know what's going on in the world, so I'm just gonna skip right over that for now. We don't want to talk about it any more than we already do. So we're just gonna talk about the making content, you know, the good stuff. That was my shortest intro ever. I probably missed a bunch of stuff, but oh well. Yep, carrying on. I have a new design out. Last Friday, I think, I released the Skein Wonder Cowl LITE, which is this cutie right here. You can find the video linked in places up above and below and all, etc. For the pattern drop, every time I put out a new pattern, I do a pattern drop video, giving you all the details on the pattern, where you can find it, materials you need, stitches, etc. I do have a stitch tutorial as well, which I can also link for you, on how to do the stitch used in this pattern, as well as my original Skein cowl, Skein Wonder Cowl. I know the names of my patterns, guys. I know what I'm talking about. Skein Wonder Cowl pattern. The original is DK. I released that back in January. But this one is fingering weight. And this is in Once Upon a Corgi, That's No Moon colorway yarn. And yeah, she's a local Connecticut dyer, repping my Connecticut people today. This is by my friend Sarah of Block 21 Prints. She makes block printed t-shirts, stickers, bags, all of the awesome things. So go check her out as well. There's a fuzzy on my shirt. There we go, got that. But yeah, the cowl pattern is up for free on my blog, which I will link down below for you, or you can find it in my Etsy and Ravelry shops. It is a great, as the name implies, Skein. I'm not going to talk about it a ton because you can watch the pattern drop video. But the thought behind it is that a lot of us are working out of stash right now. So if you have a single skein that you bought maybe at a festival or at like a pop-up, and you really wanted to support a dyer but you just bought it and you didn't really know what you were doing with it, this is the perfect skein for that project. Or if you're someone who's never worked with fingering weight yarn before, or maybe has never purchased hand-dyed yarn before, now is a really... Cat interruption, as always. Husband chasing cat interrupting in hallway. I can't win. If I shut the door, the cat throws a fit outside. What? Oh, it's staying in. He's not letting it out. Yeah. If I leave the door open, the cat comes in and causes a fuss, and if I leave the door shut, the cat causes a fuss that the cat's not in. Cannot win. We're talking about fingering weight yarn and hand-dyed. Now is a great time to support indie dyers, people who are depending on doing events and that sort of thing that have now been canceled. It's a great time to support small businesses in general, but we want to keep our little community going. So if you've never purchased from a hand dyer before, now is a great time to jump on. If you don't know any, I can recommend a ton, but jump on Instagram, jump on Etsy, search hand-dyed, indie-dyed yarns, grab yourself a fabulous skein of fingering weight yarn, and you can make this gorgeous cowl. Love it. I've been wearing this a ton because we've been doing lots and lots of walks, because what else can you do with yourself right now? But it's like just that spring breezy, warmish, but not really warm weather, so this is perfect for that. Nice and light, nice and cozy, keeps the breeze off your neck, and I love it. And it seems like you guys love it too. A lot of people jumped right on the pattern, and somebody like got it like Friday night and had one done by like Saturday morning. So it's a quick pattern. So if you'd like to make one, I would love that. I'm thirsty. I have tea somewhere. There it is. I need to get like a separate tea side table because I have the side table and it has all of the yarny things on it, but then I can't put the tea on it. Problems, I know. I also rearranged my shelves back there. It used to be books on that side, yarn on that side, and I can't tell if I like it. I feel like it's off balance with the hooks and the other stuff. I don't know. Comment below, because I know you guys are worried about that sort of thing. You're not. You're not at all. So that's what I have out for patterns. Currently wrapping up the Fandeco vest, which is the yellow fanny looking vest I've been talking about for the last couple episodes. You can go back and take a peek at that if you'd like. Wrapping up testing on that for this week. Wrapping up testing for that. I don't know what I just said. I'm sure all of our brains are just like right now, doing our best. But wrapping that up this week and sending it off to my tech editor, hoping by the end of April, but I'm not sure what her schedule is looking like. She's usually a homeschool mom, so I'm assuming things haven't really changed much for her, but yeah, everybody just needs more grace during this time. So give the grace. But the Fandeco pattern is coming soon. That's all I have. No, it's not all I have for designs. Guys, I finally conquered. If you have been watching, I think the last 2 podcasts, I was wrestling with a shawl design that I just kept frogging and refrogging and frogging again. I'm going to take off the cowl so I can show you the shawl. Musical garments with Bella. It's a catchy song, right? Okay. So this, it's been going by many names, it's been many shapes. It's this way. There's no way I'm going to get all of this on screen. But I was originally doing a start from the top, end at the bottom triangle scarf shawl, but I decided I was going to start at one corner and work to the center point, then start decreasing and go to the other corner. I've never done a shawl this shape before, and I love it. Working title, this is going to be the Serenity in Shiloh shawl. I'm still not 100% convinced on that. I just keep changing it. But that is currently what we're calling it. It still has a lot of ends to sew in, which I'll show you in a sec. But yeah, it's a really fun stripey combo. Really, I mean, I guess it's kind of fallish colors, but all of my color schemes are always fallish colors. I really like it. Super lightweight. It's fingering weight, so it will work for summer. Just keep floofing it here. Floofing it, floofing it. It is very large, but it is very lightweight. You could definitely, if you wanted to do more winter wear, you could definitely go around another time and tie it and have it be more of a bandana kind of fit, nice and cozy. But yeah, I love it. So I'm not, like I said, 100% sure on the name, but I'm feeling like Serenity in Shiloh is a good quarantine shawl project name. It's not going to be out. Hopefully by the time it's out, this will be over, but we'll see. Now I'm strangling. But I forget I think the measurement across the top was like 90 inches or something. I did a video over the weekend, a blocking tutorial. That'll be coming out soon as well. But yeah, it's a big one. So you can definitely go. I don't ever wear shawls like this, but you totally could wear this like this, or do that wrappy aroundy thing that the people do. The people being the Little Women and stuff and such. The Scotsmen. I don't know. I don't ever wear shawls like a shawl. I always do scarf shawls. But yeah, this had, I've sewn half of the ends in. So this half, I've got the ends sewn in. But this half still has all of the ends. Obviously there's a lot of ends because it's a stripy shawl. But this first half had like a bazillion extra ends because I had frogged that project so many times that there was like ends all in the middle because I was working with little leftover bits. So yeah, I think I counted and it was like 147 or 142 or something, 140 something ends, which is a lot of teeny tiny ends. And they're not even placed in such a way that you could work them in to be like a fringe because the stripes are so random. They're just like in random chunks of fringishness. I can't see myself at all, so hopefully I'm showing you something on the screen. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. I've never done a fingering weight shawl. The Cowl pattern is actually my first fingering weight project, but I really like working with fingering weight, and I think a lot of crocheters are intimidated by it, but it's not any different than any other yarn. It's just a little bit skinnier and maybe takes a little bit longer, but it's got a lot of yardage in the skeins and you can make a nice big project, and I love it. So yeah, I know it's a lot of ends because of all the stripes, but I love the random striping. I love it. This was just a really fun project after once I frogged it for the third time, to kind of just not stress where I was putting the stripes. And I had done math vaguely to know how much I needed to have to get to the middle and then still be able to get to the other end. But I was kind of just doing it like the stripes really have no rhyme or reason to them. They are just all kinds of random. And it's 2 basic stitch motifs. This one, and then this more open one. And that's just used all the same throughout, and then you just kind of alternate striping and colors, and 3 colors. I didn't grab the ball bands, but if you go back to the other 2 podcasts prior to this one, I talk about the colors lots. This light brown is a local to me. Burgess Brook alpacas. The brown is Silver Key stitches, and the orange was some leftover Plymouth yarn. I think it's called Nettle Grove. I believe it's discontinued, but all of these are an interesting mix of plant-based fibers. The beige has hemp in it. The brown has cotton and linen? No. Maybe it is cotton and linen. Yeah, I think so. And then the orange has nettle and silk and linen as well. Go back to the previous episode. I talk about it in great detail there. I'll link it above for you. But yeah, so I really just like the lightweight drape of it. 'Tis lovely. And then the main 2 colors are both natural colors of alpaca. So yeah, it's just super drapey and lovely. And yeah, so I'm working on writing that up right now. I want to get the fan deco out to my tech editor first so I can kind of clear my mind of that. I've been doing all the tester feedback, and I can only balance so many patterns at once. People who do more than one at a time, God bless you. That is not me. So once I clear the fan deco out of my brain, I will get this written up and into testing, hopefully by the end of April. If you want to be on a lookout, you can follow me over on Instagram, Bellas_custom_crochets. That is where I do all of my tester calls currently. So yeah, potentially the Serenity and Shiloh shawl. I feel like Shiloh shawl. There's another one on Ravelry called the Shiloh shawl, so I didn't want to do just that, but I feel like it's kind of hard to say. But I also don't want to just do Serenity shawl. And I like Serenity and Shiloh together. Thoughts? I know I had said before I wanted to name it something botanical. I was calling it like the Plant Lady shawl originally. I don't know. The shawl has just been a lot of emotions. So I need to get the rest of the ends sewn in. And then we can really pin down the name. But I love it. Hope you guys love it too. And hopefully it encourages you to use some yarn maybe out of your comfort zone, because crocheters can use my fancy yarn. I'm doing a lot of singing today. I get cooped up inside. Apparently my life turns into a musical. So that's cool. I'm going to save all the ends as I sew them in. This is halfway in this little, what are you, a pint jar? Just so I can take a picture, because it's so many ends. And fingering weight ends are just so much more tedious to sew in because they're skinny. I promise the shawl will not have this many ends. Again, it's because I frogged mine so many times and I was working with fragments. There will be lots of ends, but not 147. Please don't let that scare you. Okay, so that's that pattern. Take a sip of tea. What else have I been making? Your throat gets real dry when you don't talk all day. What else have I been doing? Okay. A little bit more crocheted stuff. So obviously we've been staying home. The only thing we've been doing is going out and going for walks. I haven't even gone to like grocery stores or anything. We did Instacart once, and I had stocked up prior to all of this starting, so we haven't like gone out and done things other than hiking and walking places. So yeah, I, stay home, stay safe, all that good stuff. Decided to do a lockdown blanket. The US, I don't think is technically calling it lockdown. I think we're calling it social distancing. Lockdown, I think, is like the UK and Europe. But Emma of Potter and Bloom, who's in the UK, is doing a lockdown blanket. The pattern can be found on her blog for free. It's a vintage hexie pattern. Hers is, I believe, in fingering weight yarn, and she's doing it 3-color, like scrappy hexies. But that just sounded like a lot more ends. After dealing with that shawl, I was like, I don't want that many ends in my life. And I don't have a lot of fingering weight scrap yarn. And I didn't want to use yarn I didn't want to buy yarn for it. So I wanted to use stash yarn. And what I do have a ton of stash is worsted weight acrylic, which I don't really use anymore, to make myself stuff. I'll do it for hats occasionally. But I don't use a ton of worsted weight. I'm just going to keep holding this up awkwardly while I talk about it. I don't use a ton of worsted weight. I have a ton left over. All in this dresser is pretty much worsted weight acrylic from when I did mostly amigurumi. And it's all various, mostly worsted weight, but different densities of worsted weight, and yeah, just random stuff. But I hate throwing out yarn, so I wanted to put it to a good use. So we are doing this lockdown blanket. I'm using, where's my hook? What am I using for this? Did I lose the hook? That's not good. I'm using a J, whatever that is. Bella, what did you do with the hook? Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I'll have to find the hook. Oh, it's over there on my desk, but I don't remember what J is in millimeter, but it's a J. It's the brown Clover or More, whatever that one is, the brown one. I or J. Doesn't really matter. But you can adjust it to be any gauge that you like, really. The interesting thing about the blanket is we don't know how big it's going to be, because is there an end to this? No one knows. So I'm hoping it's going to turn out doll size and not king bed size. But here's my thought. We started our lockdown, quarantine, social distancing, stay home, stay safe, whatever hashtag you want to slap on there. I'm using Crocheting Through COVID on Instagram. I started that. If you want to use Crocheting Through COVID, go ahead and join me. But we started March 17th when my husband's office closed. So he's been working from home since then. So that's when we're starting our counting from. So I decided to do in rainbow order, because such is my life. All things must be in rainbow order. Blocks of a week, or colors. Each color is a week, each block is a day. Here we go. So I'm doing, the 17th was a Tuesday, so it's like Tuesday through Monday. This red one was a little skinnier. It's a worsted weight, but it's a little less dense. But if the blanket's a little wonky, it's just a reminder that this time was a little wonky. And this one's a little fatter. So it's yellow, and then today I did this, because today is theoretically Tuesday. Does anyone know the day anymore? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Started this green, and I'm just going to kind of keep doing random blobs of color. HGDC, HG Design Crochet, that's what it is. On YouTube has a pattern that she's doing in granny squares that she's calling her Tetris blanket, and it's just huge chunks of granny squares in random colors in her stash, and they like all piece together in like this Tetris looking thing. So I really liked the way that she had those big color chunks. So that's what I'm going to do, rather than just completely random ones. And then I'll be able to go week by week and count. How many weeks? There's a fair chance that if this quarantine situation ends in the middle of a week or in a weird shape, I'm going to have to finish off the blanket. I'm not going to leave it like missing a whole chunk. Or maybe I'll do a different color at that point. But yeah, I'm just going to keep repeating rainbow order. I have plenty of yarn to choose from. And it's going to be a lot of ends, obviously. I probably should weekly or monthly sew in my ends or something. Pick like a day of the week to do that, because ends are terrible. I don't normally love join as you go projects, but this seemed like a worthy cause, you know? So yeah, that's my lockdown blanket. Like I said, I'm hoping it's going to be doll size or baby size, and that somehow it turns out to be a shape that makes sense. And if not, whatever. This is yarn that was just sitting and not really serving a purpose anyway, so we're just gonna give it some new life and see what it turns into. So I'll keep updating you on that as we go, I guess. Are any of you doing any kind of commemorative project? I know there's a couple different, this is all messed up, a couple different lockdown type blanket crochet along cowl things that you can join. I don't know, I really feel strongly about making beautiful things out of all situations, and a lot of times crocheting and yarn and fiber arts are very therapeutic for me. So those little hexagons, I mean, I didn't start on the 17th. I had to go back, and because I think I started just last week, so I made a whole bunch last week, and now I'm just doing one each day. But they take like 5-6 minutes to do one of these, if that, maybe even less. I should time myself. But yeah, it's a good little, I don't know, keep track. Seems like a good idea. And at the end, we'll have something beautiful and functional. And yeah, maybe we'll look back and say, aha, remember when we did that? That was so fun. Because this will end, guys. There is an end. I don't know what it is, but it's going to end. So that's the only other thing I've been actively crocheting at this point. I do have, I talked about it last time, I swatched for an upcoming design with LaRue. I'm sorry if I'm awkwardly reaching here. LaRue Crochet reached out and wanted to collaborate on a design. It sent me some really lovely yarn. This brown is Coffee Please, and this speckle, which is going to be the accent color, is called Falfetti. Really pretty. She dyes, I don't know how you dye cotton, but she dyes 100% Pima cotton. And the feel of it, if you've ever worked with Lion brand 24/7 cotton, it's very similar to that. But I don't think that's Pima cotton. I think that's just cottony cotton. This cake is doing some wild things, and I'm about to sneeze, guys. Watch out. Allergy season is kicking in, so that's spectacular, because that's what we all need right now. But yeah, the feeling of this, I think it's called mercerized, is that right? Mercerized cotton, which I don't know what that means, but I know what it feels like. So yeah, these are really gorgeous, and dyeing cotton is a whole different beast, because you don't use acid dyes. I don't know how she does it, but she does. So I swatched for a design. I haven't done anything other than the swatch thus far, but this is a little sneak peek of what's going to be going on with those. So the main body of, it's going to be a garment, is going to be this stitch in this color, and then going to be an accent part in this Fandeco stitch of mine, which is the yellow vest pattern that's coming out soon, but I'm going to incorporate that into this design as well. So I've kind of sketched it out, done some swatching, done some math, but again, I just want to get the other patterns out of my head, because I just do not have the brain space for multiple garment grading type projects at a time. So I'll probably get the shawl written up and into testing, and then we're going to get to this in April sometime. Very excited about it. I have not done any garments in cotton. I don't think I've designed anything in 100% cotton, so this is going to be, cotton's just kind of different. It's beautiful, super soft. This is a DK weight, by the way. Super lovely. You can check her out. She is LaRue Crochet, and she dyes LaRue cotton. But I will keep you posted on how that design goes once I get that going, basically. Hopefully hopefully it turns out as I am planning. It's the first time a dyer has reached out to me, which is super exciting, so thank you for doing that. I appreciate you thinking of me. But yeah, I'm really excited about that collab, and it's going to be a summer pattern, so keep an eye out for that. What else have I been making, guys? I feel like we're flying. How long have I been talking? I can't tell because the camera's flipped the other way, and there's a mirror, and I can't read that, and whatever. Alright, so I'm just going to keep going. Knit content? Knit content. Am I talking really fast? I feel like I might be. Okay, so last time I showed you these socks that I had done incorrectly and on a different needle size. So I have corrected them, mostly. These are the Mahogany Run socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. And I am using Kitty Pride fibers into one-of-a-kind skeins. So I'm using the orange for the heel-toe cuff and this hand paint one-of-a-kind for the main body of the sock. Last time I was working on, I am so bad at the millimeter sizes of things. I always go by the US sizes. Whew, that's some tiny print. What do you say? 2.25s. These are 2.25s, which is a US 1, I believe. Haya Flyers, which are my go-to sock needle. Go-to meaning I've knit all of like 5 pairs of socks now, but this is what I like. And yeah, I was doing them on a 1.5 before, and this yarn is just a little bit thinner than what I'm used to working with. It is fingering weight, but I feel like it's a slightly skinnier than what I was used to. So the gauge was just really funky, because I don't ever gauge swatch for socks, let's be real. I rarely gauge swatch for anything. That's not true. I gauge swatch for all of my designs, and if I'm making a garment, but socks, hats, all that sort of thing, usually just wing it. But the gauge was weird, and I was doing the yarn overs completely incorrectly, because brain space right now, y'all. But look, now can you see the little holy bits? It's a really, I can't tell if you can tell. Can you tell? Can you tell if I can tell? Can anybody tell? Maybe if I go like this, and you see through. Once I block them out, that'll be more obvious, but there is these really cute little alternating holy bits with this ribbing. And yeah, really simple design, and I love the way that the yarn is doing this like color pooling thing, where like the lighter yellow stripe is right here, and then not intentional, but it's kind of cool how it's turning out. So those I've been working on not a lot. Because yeah, I frogged this like 2 weeks ago and started again, and this is all we got. I haven't picked these up, I don't think, at all this week, because I've been working on what I'm about to show you next. But yeah, I'm very excited to have another pair of socks in my sock repertoire. I almost stabbed my eye out. Thank God I'm wearing glasses. Whew, guys, it's just the life. How are we all doing, by the way? How are you guys doing? Leave me a comment below. I know we're all in the same boat, which is strangely comforting. I mean, it's upsetting to think about the whole world being in this state of affairs, but it is very comforting to know that we are in it together, and to have so many people, I don't know. I'm thankful for this community and online and Instagram and all of that, that we can all connect and just kind of keep tabs on each other, keep this community strong. But yeah, I hope you're all doing okay. If there's anything you would like prayer for, I'd be happy to do that if you want to drop that down below. My daughter, this is a total sidetrack, but whatever, we'll throw it in. It's my podcast. I can format it however you want, however I want. Life is hard. No, really, it's not that bad. Okay, it's fine. I guess she's almost 17 months. Ooh, that's scary. Daughter is suddenly really into praying. We pray at dinner and bedtime with her, but now throughout the day she'll just like stop, fold her hands, and yell, "Pray!" And we have to pray for something, anything, all of the things, until she stops yelling, "Pray." Usually when we pray at dinner and bedtime too, she yells, "Pray," while we're praying the whole time. It's adorable. Not sure if she has a full grasp on what prayer is, but apparently she really likes praying, and that makes my mama heart happy. So if there's anything you would like prayer for, we are, not that we have a shortage of things to pray for, but we are praying without ceasing over here. So if there's anything you'd like some prayer for, feel free, drop me a comment. We'd love to add that in. Now back to the regularly scheduled fiber content. Alright, so this, had I started it last time? I know I showed you the yarn and the pattern. I don't think I had started, or maybe I had just done the collar or something. But this is the Salubrious Sweater. But, ooh, look at that on the screen. It looks like I know how to do stuff, guys. This is the Salubrious Sweater by Morgan of More Thunder. And this is my first ever, a lot of things. This is my first ever adult size knit sweater, or full size. I've done a tee, and way back in like the middle of high school, many moons ago, I did a short sleeve hooded top thing. This is the first long sleeve full body knit sweater I have ever made myself. It is my first time doing any sweater, be it yoke, or be it crochet or knit, in a circular yoke. And baby sweaters. First adult size yoke sweater. Usually do raglan or bottom up. This is my first time doing knit short rows on a garment. I've done short rows on socks. This is the first time I have done, what else? Color work on a garment. I've done one color work hat, I think. First time doing color work on a sweater. First time sort of semi-successfully, I mean, I got the sleeves done, but magic loop. Hate magic loop. But I did it. Got the sleeves done. And I feel like there was more firsts involved in there somewhere. But yeah, basically conquering all the new things. When Morgan released this pattern, it was originally free, just for all of us, doing the quarantine thing. And I was like, you know what? I have some yarn in stash. I can make it happen with yarn I already have. And why not learn some new skills while we're hanging out at home? You know what? I'm just going to put this on. I'm just going to wear this, guys. Actually, no. First, I'm going to show you that my floats aren't terrible. They're not great, but they're not terrible. Like, look, that's not awful. Right? I don't know. I learned a new technique for catching floats. Fairy Pink Knits has a super good tutorial. All of her tutorials are very good. But yeah, like they're not all completely evenly tensioned, and there's some that I totally forgot to catch. Like these buggers here are spanning like 10 stitches or something, and that's not right. I may have to tack those down. But overall, they're not awful, and the color work isn't pulling. If anything, it's too loose. There's not really any spots that I think are too tight. It's hard to tell because it's acrylic. I've already said acrylic worsted weight is not my go-to, especially not for garments. If I'm going to do garments, I generally prefer DK. I haven't knit any fingering weight garments, but fingering weight, like store-bought stuff, is what I prefer. So now I'm going to put it on. We're cropped. We're just below, just a couple inches below finishing the color work. The pattern is written that you do the whole body and then the sleeves, but I was hoping, because I had 3 skeins, some skeins. The main body was some random discontinued Red Heart Super Saver that somebody had given me, because I'm not a fan of the Red Heart Super Saver. It's like a worsted, closer to Aran. I know it's a super budget-friendly yarn, but it's just not one that I love. So I don't usually buy it, but somebody had given it to me. I don't remember why. Not even a gift, just I think somebody found it at like a tag sale, maybe. That or it was like an estate, I don't know. It was given to me. And I was thinking I could get away with using just the skeins that I had I would do the color work, and then I was like, I'm going to do the sleeves, and then I'm going to do the rest of the body with whatever I have left. And if you've heard me talk about it before, I am team no crop, so you can't see where this is hitting me now, but it's like only to the base of my rib cage, which I know for sure I cannot wear it like this. Maybe you can, I cannot. It will drive me crazy. I like oversized, longer, but lengthy things. So yeah, I have this much yarn left. And I ended up having to hunt down I was looking on eBay and DStash and all sorts of places, and I was able to find, the colorway is called Black Fleck, and there's currently a Red Heart Super Saver Black Neon Fleck, and it's got like hot pink and yellow and green, I think, but this one's blue and red and yellow, and green, is there green? No, blue, red, and yellow, primary colors, and black, Tweety bits. I have no idea when it was from, but it's discontinued, so I found some, and there was like some on eBay that was still up for auction, and then it was like $9 shipping or something. And Red Heart's like usually like $3. So I ended up finding some that was $8 flat, which is still more expensive than regular Red Heart, but seeing as the rest of the sweater was in stash yarn, I feel okay about that. So that's on its way, and then I'll finish it off. But I'll put it on for you and show you. It's a little crunchy to my liking, crunchy being plasticky acrylic yarn, but I'm hoping it'll soften up when I chuck it in the washing machine. I made the size 3 in the pattern, which I think was I don't have the pattern, the color work chart, but I don't have the, are you over there? Maybe. What is the size 3? It's all out of order. Size 3 is a 40-inch bust. I usually wear, I don't remember if it was with positive ease, or no. Finished size was a 40-inch bust. Okay, so I usually wear like a 38-ish bust. And I did swatch for this, but I had never swatched color work before. So I don't think my gauge swatch was completely correct, because I do think this is bigger than 40. I haven't measured it, but I'd say that there's probably, it's hard to tell when it's not finished, but we probably have a good maybe 6 to 8 inches of positive ease going on in the body. So I think my gauge was off, but I'm glad it's bigger than smaller. So it does fit comfortably. It's going to be cozy. It does really look pretty good. I was worried that the green wasn't showing up contrasty enough, but I feel like on camera at least it looks very contrasty. I'm obviously not going to wear it with the shirt underneath because this looks terrible. I may do a crochet edge around the collar because it's a little too boat necky for me. Is that boat neck? Crew neck? Boat neck. Because it's like right below where my bra straps are right outside, and I hate it when they show. So I'm probably going to tighten the collar up just a tiny bit. Then I did some little modification-y bits. The sleeves, I went down a size, because she does the whole thing, collar, ribbing, body, everything, on a size 10 US needles. And I did the body on a 10, and then I did the sleeves on a 9. And I actually ended up doing the sleeve, one of the sleeves twice, because she has 2 versions in the pattern, one where you decrease every 10 rows and one where you do every 5. And I was like, I don't really know what I want. So I did the 10 row first, and then it was just way too much bulk, especially with the worsted weight. So I went down to decreasing every 5 rows, and then did a twisted rib instead of regular rib. Wrist, and a little bit longer than recommended. I think she said 2 inches, and mine's maybe 3 or more inches. I don't know, I just kept trying it on. Nice thing about a yoke sweater is you can try it on as you go. So my sleeves are nice and snug, and then the body is going to be oversized. I think I'm going to either try and add some shaping in, or maybe just drop down to a size 9 once I get that other ball of yarn. Or I guess with the ball of yarn I already have. Continue doing the body below the rib cage in a slightly tighter gauge. Maybe add some shaping. I don't know. Is that a good idea? Do people do that? That's one of the ways that I like to do crochet shaping, is just switch hook sizes rather than changing the stitch count. But I guess I could try and do some like waist shaping. I pretend I know stuff about knitting. Learning stuff. This was a great learning experience. I mean, I did it. I made a colorwork sweater. Generally, I don't gravitate towards colorwork, but I feel like I'll wear this. My favorite part is this little bit here. These look like little churches and little crosses to me, and I messaged Morgan and I was like, is that intentional? And she's like, no, people just really gravitate towards shapes that they can associate with. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then when I posted it, somebody was like, it looks like Atari. And I was like, that didn't even consider, because I've played like all of 2 video games in my entire life. No lie. Maybe 3. And then somebody else was like, oh, it reminds me of Star Wars. And I was like, oh yeah, I kind of get that. I kind of see some Star Wars-y vibes. And then my husband said it reminded him of some arcade game. Started with a G. I don't remember. Galaga? Is that what you said, JoJo? Some arcade game that he showed me with like little spaceshipy things. But yeah, I wasn't thinking of any of that when I chose the colors or, yeah. But I like it. It does, I don't know, it's definitely not my usual. I don't have anything color work in my entire wardrobe, handmade or not. So this is new for me, but I feel pretty excited that I conquered it. I don't think it's going to be a go-to staple piece in my wardrobe, especially because I know this Red Heart Super Saver is probably not going to be the best wearing, long-lasting thing. But I learned a lot, and basically I've spent only $8. Well, I spent money on these yarns initially, but the main yarn was mostly free except for the $8 Skein I just had to order. So I'm hoping that it all just turns out lovely when I block it. Blocking acrylic can be a beast, but I feel like it looks pretty okay, and then it'll smooth out, and there's only a couple spots like arms I gotta deal with some holy issues there. Go around the collar, and yeah, maybe tack down a couple spots on the floats. I'm just gonna wear this for the rest. Why not? I'm almost done talking to you anyway, so I'm just gonna keep wearing it. Yeah, I feel like for my first, all of those things that I listed, color work, yoke, magic looping, float catching, knit sweater making, adventure, I feel like I did a pretty good job. I don't know. You guys know I'm a crocheter. The funny thing is, I was a knitter first. I learned how to knit when I was like 6, 7-ish. And the crocheting, my grandma tried to teach me at the same time, but that didn't stick until much, much later. And I picked it back up in like high school and finally made sense of it. Ooh, that was so cool. So yeah, knitting is actually... Oh, the other thing that I learned... This was what I was like the most proud of. I figured out how to knit Continental, guys, doing the 2 color worky bits. There was a couple spots where you had to be doing 3 color, and that nearly killed me. But I'm normally an English knitter, where you throw your yarn, and Continental... with your right hand. Continental, you hold the yarn in your left hand and you kind of just pick it up as you go. And that's usually what's easier for crocheters, because crocheting, you obviously hold the yarn in your left hand. But I just was never able to get the hang of it because, like I said, I learned how to knit first. So I've always crocheted normally with the yarn in my left hand, hook in my right hand, because I'm right-handed, and then knit English with the yarn in my right hand. And then obviously the needles in both hands. But this, with the color work, just to keep it from getting knotted up, I had to do 1 English and 1 Continental, and I actually did it. And yeah, I still can't purl Continental. Cannot. But overall, my tension, I've been switching back and forth between English and Continental throughout, and the tension isn't terrible. So that was a big step. So I'm doing the stockinette part down here now in all Continental, and it looks smooth and even, so maybe I know what I'm doing now. We'll see. I'll work on the purling bits maybe later, but yeah, I was really excited. But if you're someone that is a crocheter and you don't knit currently, I would check out Continental tutorials, Continental knitting, because a lot of times it's just easier because you're already used to working with your left hand to control and tension yarn. So just a thought. So yeah, I think that's the last project I had to show you. Well, I have this. This isn't a crochet or knit project. This is me attempting to sew. These little strings on my wrist are going to be a problem, so we're just going to tuck those in for now as I wear my half-body sweater to talk to you. Okay, because all of the world is making masks, I was like, I should make a mask. And I did. Ooh, fogging those glasses up. What's the other problem with this whole thing? Okay, I don't need to tie this on. You know how a mask works. Glasses and masks are not friends. I need another sip of tea. So everyone's making masks. And I am not entirely sure that the homemade masks work or do anything, and I've seen so much information and I don't know what to believe anymore. But I was like, you know what, I have fabric, I can make a mask. I don't think crocheting masks is a good idea, but I'm not starting an argument here, so you do your research, make your own decisions. So yeah, I am not a sewer. I have a sewing machine. I have sewn things. I like the idea of having sewn things. I hate sewing. It stresses me out so bad. Because unlike crocheting or knitting, where you rip it back and you still have yarn, if you mess up sewing, you just have to start all over again. You've ruined all of your materials and everything is just the end of the world. So this was just some random yarn, some random fabric that I had in my basement. I gave away pretty much all of my fabric last year because I was like, listen, Bella, you were just hoarding this and you don't sew. But this was a survivor. Some random fabric that I had. Followed a random tutorial. If I can find it again, I'll link it below. If not, there are plenty of masks out there you can find. But this is one with ties because elastic is hard to come by these days. It's got the little pleats. It's got a pocket to put a filter, but I don't know what I would stick in there. Again, you can look up various good filters. I haven't actually used this because I haven't gone anywhere other than the woods. But I made a mask and it turned into quite the ordeal because I got it all. I put my daughter to bed and I was like, okay, I'm going to get this done. And I was going to make one for me and my husband, and he doesn't get one now. So I cut it all out and I had an iron and everything, and I don't iron, so that was a whole nother thing. So I got it cut out. I did like the first step and then I started sewing these little straps. And as I was doing that, the needle on my sewing machine broke. And I am not good at troubleshooting my sewing machine. It was given to me by someone who was moving, and I was like, I'll take it, but I don't know what I'm doing. I have a manual, but I didn't have any spare needles, or I had one that was for like sewing through canvas or something ridiculously thick. I have normal needles, and I didn't even know how to change one if I did have one. So I was like, okay, I've got this most of the way done. I had like 3 straps done and this whole thing cut out. So I was like, you know what? I will just hand sew it. You probably can't see it because of the dark fabric, but yeah, I had to hand sew all the pleats and like 2 of the straps, and it turned out okay, but it took me close to 2 hours to make a mask. So I'm glad I'm not in charge of making masks for medical professionals because I would take forever. So yeah, if you need masks, I am not your girl. And I realized you're supposed to make them 2 different colors so you know which side is your inside. I just put some markers with some sparkly thread on the inside because this is the only fabric I had. And yeah. So worst case, I have this mask. Who knows if it works? But I made it, and making one made me feel a little bit better about my life. Then actually worse about my life as I was making it because it's terrible. So yeah. I have another friend who is sending me some masks that are probably much better than this one. So, yes, that is the only sewing content you will probably ever see on this podcast. Anything else to show you? Yes, I acquired just a few things. If I haven't already talked about my love for Taylor of Fiber for the People, let me tell you, she is probably, I don't know, there are so many talented yarn dyers out there, but I love her aesthetic. I love her yarn. I love her vlogs. Her podcast has been my favorite since before she started dyeing yarn. So yeah, just OG fangirl over here. But yeah, she is so talented, and her grasp on color theory and just the art behind it all is amazing, and the way she describes color and just it's amazing. Amazing. And her shop updates always sell out super quick. So this is actually the first skein I've ever gotten my hands on. This is Fiber for the People. On her, do her bases have names? I'm not sure. It's the 75-25 4-ply, but I don't know if she names the bases specific things. This is her colorway Leather, which is just, as you can see, a really pretty mustardy, goldy, greeny, browny. I am not eloquent at describing colors such as Taylor is. But yeah, this is beautiful, and I don't have a specific project in mind for it. I'm kind of waiting for her to do a shop update with her colorway Seagull, which is like a grello-y color. I think those two would go good together, but I need to see them in person. But yeah, I also really like, she does something called Lucky Strikes, where she makes like one-of-a-kind colors out of leftover dye particles and dye that hasn't exhausted in a dye bath. So she like rinses off her spoons and stuff and makes completely different colors, one-of-a-kinds with them. And I really want to get some Lucky Strikes because I really love the idea of them being really like one-of-a-kinds, or like two-of-a-kinds. But her shop updates go so fast. Like, you have to be logged in, have all of your payment information and everything in, and there have been times where I've gotten on and I like throw a Lucky Strike in my cart, and by the time I get down to press purchase, they're like gone. So yeah, it's fierce. She's killing it. But yeah, this is the first skein that I've gotten, and I'm super excited about it. And she always sends tea with her yarn. That was upside down. Tea with her yarn. So this is going to be something, hopefully, in a design in the future once I get some more of her yarn. She is like my dream collaboration at this point. Taylor, you want to collab? You're not watching this podcast. But if you are, I always get super fangirly whenever she comments on any of my posts, or one of my testers made something in her yarn for the, I think it was the original One Skein Wonder Cowl, and she shared it, and I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't usually get pretty fangirly, but she's really talented, and I just really like her design style. Or her, she's not a designer, she's a dyer, I don't know. I really like her. So that has been my only yarny purchase, and then I guess it's a big purchase. It's not really exciting to show you, and I'm not really qualified as a knitter to give a review, so I don't think I'm going to do a review video. But you can go find lots of review videos. Finally, after years of these being in my cart, I got fed up with borrowing my mom's and or trying to wing it with other materials, and I bought myself a Chiaogu set of interchangeables for knitting. Again, I'm a crocheter, so I put this off for a long time, and was just buying needles individually. But once I started knitting the sweater, I was like, okay, if I'm going to knit sweaters, it's going to be way more costly if I keep buying individual needles. So I will just invest in these, and we're calling it a early Mother's Day present, and I had consigned a bunch of, I get really weird about buying stuff for myself, and I have to like either have money set aside for it, because that's just how I am, or earn it and set money aside over a certain period of time. I don't impulse buy things. So I had consigned a bunch of clothes and stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm going to use it for that. So I'm sure you've seen these lots of places, but it's interchangeable needles with cords and stoppers and stitch markers, and yeah. So I was able to knit this sweater and hopefully many sweaters to come. It is getting very warm in here wearing this, by the way. It was lovely out today. It was like 64 degrees, and it's just getting nice and springy. Oh yeah, worsted weight sweaters a little much. So that's the only other thing I've purchased recently. These are definitely a pricey investment, but hopefully I don't need to buy any more needle sets, ever. I waited a really long time to make sure that I wanted to commit to these. I had tried out, my mom had the same set, and I've always liked Chiaogu. My favorite needles are Haya Sharps, but just looking at reviews for those, their interchangeable set seems like they got a lot of complaints about where the join was, that they weren't smooth, and that it came with just some weird stuff that wasn't necessarily helpful to own that you were paying for, and that the case, all the needles fell out all the time because it doesn't have a zipper. So this one zips shut. So I would encourage you, if you're buying any needle or crochet investment thing, that you check out YouTube or somewhere and find some credible reviews. I won't give you one because I have nothing to compare to, but I really like these and I'm happy with them. So that's my story on that purchase. And I think that brings us to the end of the content, guys. Yes. Why am I looking over there? There's nothing over there that has anything to do with anything. As you can tell, my brain is just like done. I've been trying to just maintain my schedule overall. Hasn't changed very much because I'm normally a stay-at-home mom / crochet designer. So all of my working is from home, and it's always on a very random schedule based on my daughter, so that hasn't changed much. Having my husband home has been really cool. That has changed a little bit, but not really anything that affects my work. My daughter has mastered fit throwing. I shouldn't say mastered, she's only just getting started. I know how this goes. But yeah, we're hitting that toddler phase real hard, which is exciting. She doesn't like being cooped up, so it's really hard on days where it's not nice outside. When it's nice, we do have a nice backyard and a playscape, which I'm super grateful for. Thank God for that playscape. And we've been doing lots of walks, but she doesn't like to be in a stroller anymore, so it's a tricky thing. But I am grateful that she's oblivious to what's going on. I know for all of you who have kids at home who've been pulled out of school and that sort of stuff, that's hugely disruptive and stressful. So I'm grateful that we just have our little family of 3 and she has no clue what's going on and is just happy to do whatever. So yeah, there's been some days where we're all just kind of done with it. But obviously making the best out of the situation that we can, trying to be really grateful for what we do have and the setup that we got, and just all in all, it's really not that bad. It's not so bad to stay home with your family and spend more time together. It's not bad. So I am grateful that we are currently healthy and safe and financially okay and everything else. And if you're not, yeah, happy to pray for you guys if you want. Yeah, I hope that you're safe. I hope that you're healthy. I hope that you have your family around you and that you're using this time to make something beautiful. We've been doing lots of baking and sourdough bread making, obviously crocheting and knitting, and lots of finger painting and stickers. And we tried gluing today, but glue apparently looked really tasty. So we banned glue. We've banned Play-Doh. Yeah. Lots of toddler crafty projects. And yeah, just trying to make good memories out of a yucky situation. And it's really hard to not focus on all of the negative. I'm trying to limit the news articles and stuff that I read, but it's hard as soon as you go on social media or anything that you're just bombarded. But yeah, trying to just keep on going and adjust to this new way of life, but also not accept it as a forever thing, because it's not a forever thing. It can't be a forever thing. This must end. This has to end, right? So yeah, I hope you're finding the positives too. I hope you're doing okay. I know it's very stressful for a lot of us, especially those of us who tend to be anxious folks. I feel ya. I feel ya. There have been roller coastery, uppy downy days, but be grateful. I think that's it. So I'm kind of doing weekly-ish videos, but whenever I see you next, thank you for joining me today. And if you liked this video, though the content was kind of random, you can give it a like, give this channel a subscribe. I also do lots of tutorial videos. I have some stuff, like I said, with the blocking and upcoming patterns coming out soon. I'm hoping to do a video with my husband soon. I'm trying to do an Ask Me Anything video soon. So if there's any other content you'd like to see, drop me a comment below. I would love to hear what you guys are interested in seeing more of on this channel. And yeah, just let me know what you've been up to, because we all need more ideas as far as project inspiration and positive bright spots and whatever. Leave me some notes down below, because we need each other right now, guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for not, whatever. Thanks for coming. And until I see you next time, guys, happy making. Bye.